I'm making to town. Tell him he can hurry, tell him he can take the freeway down. And away went Rudolph, whistling like a merry.
Howdy brothers and sisters out there in YouTube land. This here is Grateful Panic, and I've got another video for you guys today. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Spyderco Tenacious. But before we do that, let's go ahead and get this panic dump out of the way and let you guys check out what I was carrying today. And today my modern folder was just so I could carry it one last time before I send it off, the Spyderco Manix 2 Lightweight, which was part of Jack Farm Boy's pass around. And again, I really appreciate being a part of this, Jack. I'm truly honored, and it was a great pleasure. And this is an awesome knife, along with the Max Ace. I really enjoyed that knife too. My slip joint carry for today was actually this guy right here, the Great Eastern Cutlery calf pin, and that's definitely one of my favorite traditional knives to carry. My fixed blade carry was the Bark River Knives Aurora in CPM Crewwear, and I did not carry a Swiss Army knife or flashlight today, so sorry for letting you guys down, but sometimes I get in a hurry and I don't grab what I mean to grab. I did not grab those two items, but that leads us into the what am I drinking portion of this video. And today I'm drinking on a little bit of Lieutenant Dank India Pale Ale from Wicked Weed Brewing Company, and the name pretty much says it all. It's some really dank IPA, and but I enjoy it. And with that being said, guys, I guess that means it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty and take a look at this here review knife. And the funny thing is, I was all set up to do this review, had everything laid out on the table, and my finger was literally half an inch away from the record button. Excuse me. And I just happened to glance over, and I had laid these knives out kind of at random. This one, I had it on me because I carried it today, so I threw it up there. Grabbed a few other knives from my knife case and put them out there. And as I'm about to hit record, I look over and I see the Byrd Raven 2, which has been called the Tenacious Killer. And I said, whoa, wait a second. I've done a review on this knife. I even mentioned in the review that people were calling this the Tenacious Killer, but I've never, up until now, had Spyderco Tenacious in hand to, compare it to. So how about I do a review on the Tenacious and then kind of do a quick comparison at the end between these two knives. So that's what we're going to do, guys. I'm going to review the Tenacious, and then at the end, I'm going to compare these two knives and give you what basically my opinion of which is the better knife. Well, no, I'm sorry, which knife I prefer, because it's not up to me to say which is the better knife, but in my opinion, which knife I prefer. So let's go ahead and take a look at this Tenacious. And what we're looking at with this guy is a handle length of 4 7/16 inches. We've got an overall length of 7 3/4 inches. We've got a blade length of 3 3/8 inches, and we've got a cutting edge of 3 3/8 inches. And that, sounds kind of contradictory, because normally, at least in my experience, I'm used to the cutting edge being a little bit shorter than the blade length. But if you look at it, I'm guessing they're measuring from the tip to, I guess, the tallest point right here, and the cutting edge ends pretty much right there at that point. So yeah, we're looking at about the same length cutting edge as we are blade length. And let's go ahead and get our semi-trusty scale out. See if we can't get you guys a weight. And we're looking at a weight of 4.1 ounces or 116 grams. 117, 116, 116 grams. All right, which that's a pretty good weight. It's less than 5 ounces, which in my opinion 5 ounces don't mean nothing. The difference for me between 4 ounces and 5 ounces is very, very negligible. I really can't tell the difference when it's in my pocket or in my hand. But you know, some people tend to prefer knives that are at least less than 5 ounces, so this one falls into that category. So there you go. Materials wise, we've got on this particular iteration of the knife, we've got black coated stainless steel hardware all the way around. Let's see if you can give you a look at that hardware. We got a black coated 4-position pocket clip, tip up, tip down, right hand, left hand. We've got G10 handle scales. We've got black coated stainless steel liners, and you can't see it, but they are skeletonized. Got a fully open construction with these several black coated stainless steel standoffs and a black coated lanyard tube. Blade wise, we've got a full flat grind black coated blade in HCR 13 MOV stainless steel. It is a, I guess what you would call Spyderco's drop point. To me, I mean, it's a very attractive blade shape. I dig it. I think it's really cool. This side, of course, you've got the Spyderco logo, and then right here you've got Spyderco HCR 13 MOV. On the clip side, on the Ricasso here, you've got China, so it is made in China. And ergonomics wise, this knife feels really, really great in hand. Oh, wait, let me back up. This is a liner lock, and it is a black coated stainless steel liner. The lockup, I would say, is 30 to 40%, which I'm completely happy with. I think that's a great lockup on a fairly new knife, and it is quite solid. There's no blade play, no lock rock. Very, very solid lockup. Now, ergonomics wise, it feels great in hand. I mean, absolutely wonderful. It's very, very comfortable. There's some good grip on this textured G10 here. You got a nice finger groove here, which really lets you get to that liner lock with ease. You don't really have to fight to get to it. It disengages very, very well. You know, you got this nice little swell here and a cutout for the rest of your fingers. And the jimping on this guy is pretty daggone good. It's fairly aggressive. It's not like thumb biting aggressive, but it's aggressive enough to where your thumb doesn't slide when you put some pressure on that jimping. So to me, that's some very, very functional jimping, and I'm very pleased with it. Like I said, I don't care either way with jimping, but if you're going to put jimping on a knife, make it functional, and this is definitely functional. And I love Spyderco's thumb ramp that's pretty much integrated into the blade design. So yeah, overall, this is a great knife, and for the price, I do wish they had used a better blade steel. I'm not a big fan at all of HCR 13 MOV. You know, it is what it is on certain knives, but when you're talking around $45, I don't care for that. I don't think that's acceptable to put on a $40 or $45 knife. But this gets, I guess you would say, a very cautious Grateful Panic seal of approval. I do like the knife, but I think $45 is a little much to spend on a knife with that blade steel. I mean, other than that, I think it is a great knife. Now, let's go ahead and compare the Tenacious to the Tenacious Killer, the Byrd Raven 2. Okay, first off, a pro for the Tenacious is it actually has the Spyderco name on it, whereas this has the Byrd name, so you automatically assume, if you've never handled the knife or don't really know the blade steel or anything, it's an inferior knife. To me, not the case. Okay, the first thing that sets this apart from the Tenacious is, of course, the blade steel. And I mean, it's not a super steel. It's CTS BD1, which, in my opinion, is a great steel. I mean, it's the blade steel they use for the Manix 2 here, the lightweight. It's a great steel. I mean, it holds a good edge. It's easy to sharpen. Are there better steels out there? Yes, there are much better steels out there. Is this a better steel than 8CR13 MOV in my opinion? Yes, it's a much better steel. And secondly, this guy, just looking at it, it's got beefier liners. It's got beefier standoffs that actually have some machining on them. It's got a much larger lanyard tube. When you look at them side by side, to me, this looks like a better quality knife. And the problem is, I think if they rearrange the price points a little bit, let's say this guy was $30 and this guy was $45, then I don't think this would be being called Tenacious Killer. It would just be the Byrd Raven 2, and this would be the Spyderco Tenacious, which I know the price has come down on this guy a bit. I have seen them at Walmart, not in the murdered out version, but just the satin finish blade. I've seen it for like $37. And this guy, I'm pretty sure, the last I looked, I'll look again and I'll post some links so you guys can look for yourself. It was right around 43. So, you know, they're very close to the same price. So for all intents and purposes, these knives are the same price. To me, this guy feels better in hand than the Tenacious. The one thing that the Tenacious has over the Raven 2 is the jimping. This jimping is just kind of slick. It doesn't grab your thumb. It's pretty much useless. Another thing I prefer about the Byrd over the Spyderco is this one, if you can see, has a nice little sharpening choil where this one has none. The sharpening bevel it goes pretty much all the way up to the plunge line, and it kind of has this little weird angle, which I'm a big fan of sharpening choils. You know, the knife performs the same, but to me it's just kind of awkward. It looks a little weird. I like a sharpening choil. The G10 actually feels like a better quality on this guy than the Tenacious. I mean, it's probably the same G10. I mean, I don't know. It feels a little bit better, and I think what it is actually it's just a little bit beefier. I don't see in my notes. I don't have the handle thickness, but I do feel like. Let's take a look at it. I feel like the Byrd is a little bit thicker. It just feels like a heftier, better quality knife, even though they use the same handle scale material, same handle material. Oh, and another thing that the Tenacious has, over the Byrd is, I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive, but I think, let's see if I can see, I think that there are, no, I think it looks like Teflon washers on this guy too, and that's one thing I wish they had splurged a couple extra cents for on this guy, is throw some phosphor bronze washers on that pivot. I mean, the action's great on it, but I just, for some reason, I'm a kind of a stickler for that. I just prefer, they last longer. I've had way fewer problems with phosphor bronze washers than I have with Teflon washers. So just, spend a couple extra pennies and throw some phosphor bronze washers on that pivot, and we're good to go, guys. And another thing, and I wish I had brought my calipers home. The information I'm getting off the internet says that they are both, the blade thickness on both of these is 1/8 inch, and there's no way, because I mean, you can see it right there. The Byrd is way thicker than the Spyderco. So I really, really wish I had brought my calipers home to measure that, but yeah, there's no way that these are both 1/8 inch. This may be 1/8 inch. I feel like that's a little bit smaller. Maybe, I don't know. It's thinner. So all in all, guys, do I think this is a bad knife? No. Do I think it's a little overpriced? Yes. And in my opinion, which do I prefer between these two? Excuse me. I would definitely say the Byrd Raven 2. There's just way more pros in favor of the Byrd. And like I said, this is by no means a bad knife. It's a good knife. But when you have two knives manufactured by the same company at the same price point, and they're very, very similar, you're going to compare the two, and in the comparison game, the Byrd Raven 2 comes out ahead. And if there's anybody out there looking for a knife of this caliber, of this style, this size, and you're trying to choose between the two of these, I would definitely go with the Byrd. It's got a little bit longer overall length. We're looking at a 7 7/8 overall length on this guy, 7 3/4 on this one. You got a closed length of 4 7/16 on this one, 4 3/8 on this one. So this one is, I don't see that. No, I got that all kinds of backwards. You got a closed length of 4 7/16 on this, and 4 3/8. That doesn't compute, because the handle length is way longer on this than it is on this. But anyway, basically you have a longer knife here. And we're going to, look, you know what, let's go ahead and throw it on the scale, because my information has them both at the same weight. 4.2, so 1/10 of an ounce heavier, which is nothing. So you got basically the same knife, two knives the same weight. To me, a little bit long, and this one's a little more comfortable, and I think that little bit of extra length gives it an advantage also. And when they come in at the same weight, yeah, again, the prize, the championship belt goes to the Byrd. So sorry for the long video, guys. I just thought it'd be a cool idea, like once I saw that this was on the table, hey, let's go ahead and compare these knives, because everybody's been calling this the Tenacious Killer. And while I wouldn't necessarily call it the Tenacious Killer, it is definitely the Tenacious's cooler brother. I don't think necessarily the sibling rivalry is so great that this guy is going to kill this guy, but this guy is cooler than this guy. Both good knives. This one just might be a great knife, whereas this is a really good knife. So, again, thank you, David Vanderstelt, for the loan of this knife. I've been wanting to get my hands on a Tenacious for a long time now, and I don't get me wrong, I do like the Tenacious, and more than likely I will get one. All I'm saying, guys, if you've got to choose between the two, and another advantage before I sign off here is I'm a huge fan of this dedicated forward finger choil, and the Tenacious doesn't have it. So yeah, I prefer this knife over this knife. There you go. So like I said, thank you, David, for the loan of the Tenacious. Thank you, Jack, for the including me in the pass around of these two awesome knives. And with that being said, guys, thank you for all your views, likes, and comments. I appreciate each and every one of you. And this is Grateful Panic signing off. And remember, guys, stay alert, stay alive, and hey, how about do something nice for somebody today? Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Run, Rudolph, Sanders, like a baby to town.